Hello, my dears. What if I told you a private habit, one you've practiced for years, might be the reason you're feeling a little less yourself lately? Something so familiar, so ingrained in your routine, could be subtly affecting your prostate, dimming your energy, even weakening your intimacy. Many older gentlemen don't see it coming. By the time symptoms like sleep troubles, a sense of numbness, or a waning desire appear, it's become deeply woven into their lives. I'm Dr. Evelyn Blake, and I've spent decades working with older men across the country. In that time, I've discovered a profound truth. It's not the act itself that's harmful, but how, why, and when it's done. The habits that felt harmless at 25 might be slowly wearing you down at 65. What once felt good could be triggering low testosterone, poor sleep, or emotional distance. That's why, today, I want to guide you through 4 common mistakes men over 60 often make and deeply regret. These are surprisingly widespread, subtly destructive, but entirely reversible. Understanding them will empower you to reclaim your vitality, your sensitivity, and your sense of self. Please stay with me, because mistake number 3, well, I've seen it fracture marriages, and most men aren't even aware they're doing it. Let's begin. Before we dive in, please subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss future videos designed just for you. And if this resonates, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0. Your feedback helps me tailor my content. Now, let's tackle the first mistake, the one I see most often in my practice. It seems harmless, even comforting, but over time, it quietly alters your brain, dulls your natural desire, leaving many men wondering why they feel different. Let's discuss the hidden cost of relying on pornography after 60. Mistake number 1, the dopamine drain. Relying on pornography after 60. I'll be frank with you, this is incredibly common, often overlooked. For many of my patients, it didn't start as a problem. They often tell me it helped them feel something during loss, boredom, or distance from their partner. It seemed like a few minutes of escape, a harmless habit. But what began as a coping mechanism slowly transformed into something else, something that started changing how their brains experienced desire. One gentleman in his early 70s, let's call him Joe, sat across from me, tears in his eyes. He said, "Doctor, I thought it was just age, a loss of vitality. But now I realize I can't feel the real thing anymore. I don't even want it the way I used to." That broke my heart, because Joe's story isn't unique. I've heard it countless times, and it all boils down to dopamine. Dopamine fuels motivation, anticipation, the feeling of reward. When you watch pornography, especially the fast-paced, intense kind so prevalent today, your brain is flooded with it. Initially, it feels thrilling, but the more you do it, the more your brain adapts. Over time, your receptors become less responsive. Suddenly, the gentle touch of a loved one, the intimacy of a real connection, none of it feels as stimulating. Your body hasn't given up. It's your brain that's become desensitized from the overload. That's the tragedy. Many older men believe their lack of desire is due to age or low testosterone. And yes, those factors play a role, but far more often, it's this subtle dopamine depletion. It creeps in silently, unnoticed, until one day you realize it's been weeks, maybe months, since you felt genuine arousal. Worse, it can lead to a cycle of needing more extreme content just to feel anything. I had another patient, Bill, 67, who told me it now takes him twice as long to reach climax, and he doesn't even enjoy it anymore. It feels mechanical, empty. We worked together to decrease his screen time, help his brain recalibrate. And within weeks, he said something that stayed with me. "Doctor, I didn't realize how much I was numbing myself. I feel like I'm waking up again." That's the possibility here. Not just performance, but presence. Not just function, but feeling. You don't have to quit pornography forever, but be honest with yourself about the cost. After 60, your brain is more sensitive to chemical signals. What you think is connecting you might be disconnecting you more than ever. So I ask you, when was the last time you felt truly alive in your body? Not from a screen, not from fantasy, but from touch, breath, emotion? If it's been a while, you're not alone. And you're not broken. You may simply need a reset. Your pleasure system is still there. You just need to give it a chance to recover. And speaking of recovery, the next mistake might surprise you, because it's something many men do thinking it helps them sleep, when in reality, it might be disrupting the very rest your body needs. Mistake number 2, using it to sleep, the hormonal backfire. I've had countless men tell me, "Doctor, it's the only thing that helps me sleep." I understand. You wake at 2 or 3 a.m., your mind racing, your body restless. So, you turn to what's familiar, release tension, find a moment of calm, and drift back off. It seems harmless, even helpful. But over the years, I've learned this late-night habit does the opposite of what you intend. Let me tell you about Frank, 66. He complained of fatigue, foggy mornings, and frustration. He wasn't sleeping through the night, he'd wake up groggy. "I don't understand," he said. "I fall asleep fine afterward, but I still feel terrible." I asked him when and how often he did this. "Almost every night, around midnight or later." Here's what many men don't know. When you masturbate at night, especially after 60, your body doesn't just release tension, it releases hormones, oxytocin and prolactin, which can relax you, but also cause a sudden drop in testosterone and disrupt melatonin, the hormone regulating your sleep cycle. That peaceful feeling is fleeting. What follows is often fragmented, shallow sleep that doesn't restore your body. As we age, our systems don't recover as quickly. Our hormone balance is more delicate. The interplay of testosterone, melatonin, and cortisol, the rhythms controlling sleep and healing, can be easily thrown off. What seems soothing is actually sending mixed signals, confusing your internal clock. Frank was skeptical, but he agreed to try something different. For a week, he skipped his nightly habit. He focused on relaxing routines before bed, warm showers, deep breathing, reading. And in the morning, when his body naturally produced more testosterone, he allowed himself release if he felt the desire. By day 4, he looked different, brighter eyes, better posture. He smiled and said, "Doctor, I forgot what it felt like to sleep through the night." That's the power of timing. Masturbation isn't the enemy, but doing it at the wrong time, when your body needs restoration, can rob you of healing. And when your sleep suffers, everything suffers. Your mood, memory, desire, even cardiovascular health. I've seen men gain weight, feel more anxious, even become depressed, all from chronic sleep disruption caused by hormonal imbalances at night. You don't have to stop completely, but shifting when and how you self-pleasure could restore your energy and focus. Especially if your mornings are difficult, consider that your nighttime routine might be part of the problem. Now, moving on, I need to discuss the perhaps most physically damaging mistake. While hormones can recover, this next issue, if ignored, can cause lasting damage that's harder to reverse. It's the mistake that silently robs countless men of their sensitivity, confidence, and ability to enjoy intimacy. Let's explore this further. Mistake number 3, too much pressure, nerve damage over time. This is difficult to discuss, because by the time men realize what's happening, the damage is done. It happens gradually, over years, even decades, and most men never consider it. I've had men in their late 60s and 70s, frustrated and confused, tell me they've lost sensation. "Doctor, I can still get hard," they'll say, "but I don't feel much. Sometimes nothing at all." And they blame themselves. They assume it's age, but often it's not. I remember Mark, 71. Sharp, funny, full of life, but the sadness in his voice was heartbreaking. "I used to feel everything," he said. "Now, I just go through the motions. I want to connect with my wife, but I can't feel her. I can't even feel myself." When I asked about his habits, he said he'd used the same technique since his 20s. Fast, firm grip, no lubricant, because that's what worked. And that was the problem. The penis is incredibly delicate, in both function and structure. It's packed with nerve endings, particularly the dorsal nerve, responsible for sensation. Consistent, excessive pressure over years wears these nerves down. It doesn't happen overnight, or even in a year, but gradually, sensation dulls. Erections weaken. Climax becomes more difficult, and by the time a man realizes it, he's lost something precious. This isn't about shame, it's about awareness. Your body changes. What felt normal at 25 might be hurting you at 65. Just as your knees or back need gentler treatment with age, so does your sexuality. Mark decided to change everything. He used a softer touch, slowed down, used lubrication for the first time. Most importantly, he allowed himself mental and physical rest. Within a month, he felt tingling again, faint at first, but growing stronger. He looked at me and said, "I thought I was broken." I wasn't. I was just being too hard on myself. Literally. Your nerves can regenerate, but only if you give them a chance. If you've felt numb, disconnected, or frustrated, this could be why. You're not too old. You may need to relearn how to treat your body with gentleness and respect. Masturbation shouldn't hurt. It should nourish, connect, restore. And it can, if you adjust your approach. Now, we've discussed the physical, your brain, hormones, nerves. But the next mistake goes deeper. It's not about how your body feels, but what your heart is carrying. Beneath these habits, there's often something unspoken, quiet loneliness, silent shame. Most men don't talk about it, but they should. And that's where we're going next. Mistake number 4, emotional disconnect, when loneliness hides behind the habit. There's a silence many don't discuss, not the peaceful kind, but the kind that creeps in when the house is quiet, when no one's calling, when the chair across from you remains empty. I've had so many older men say, with a forced chuckle, I don't even know why I do it anymore. They're not talking about desire or passion. They're talking about habit, about filling the void, about trying to feel something. And I understand, because sometimes masturbation becomes an escape from the pain of missing someone, from the weight of years gone by, from the distance between who you were and who you are now. But when driven by loneliness instead of connection, it changes us gradually, deeply, quietly. I remember Walter, 74, widowed for 6 years. He said, "It's not even about sex anymore. I just don't want to feel so alone at night." The honesty in his voice stayed with me, because he was saying he missed warmth, not touch, but tenderness, not climax, but closeness. Over time, he'd replaced that need with a habit, routine, mechanical, meaningless. He thought it helped, but it deepened the distance between him and the life he missed. When we masturbate without emotion, without presence, without intention, it can rewire our brains to seek sensation without intimacy. We train ourselves to choose isolation over vulnerability, to avoid connection because we fear the emptiness that might follow if it's gone again. And eventually, we believe this is all there is, that touch without love is normal, that pleasure without purpose is enough. But deep down, we know it's not. Walter started making small changes. He joined a men's group, wrote letters to his wife, not to send, but to remember, walked with a neighbor. And something shifted. The next time he touched himself, it wasn't out of emptiness, it was out of self-care. He said, "It's different now. I'm not just passing time. I'm remembering how to feel again." That's what I want you to take from this. Self-pleasure isn't wrong, but when disconnected from your heart, it affects your relationship with yourself and the world. If you feel numbness, a lack of joy, a nameless heaviness, it might not be age. It might be emotional distance disguised as routine. You are not alone. And you're not weak for admitting it. Acknowledging that quiet ache might be the strongest thing you ever do, because once you see it, you can start healing it. And when you do, your body, heart, and life may feel fuller again. Now that we've explored these 4 truths, there's one final point. It's the thread connecting everything, the mistake almost every man makes, regardless of how smart, strong, or self-aware he is. It keeps so many men stuck because no one ever taught them how to listen to their own bodies. And once you understand this, everything else makes sense. Conclusion: the mistake beneath them all, ignoring what your body is telling you. After years of working with men in their 60s, 70s, and beyond, I've found one mistake underlies everything we've discussed. It's not just the pornography, the timing, technique, or emotional disconnect. It's deeper, quieter. We've never been taught to truly listen to our bodies. We were raised to tough it out, to ignore fatigue, numbness, loneliness, frustration, and push through. And for a while, it works, until it doesn't, until sleep becomes restless, desire fades, intimacy feels like a memory, and you wonder, is this just getting old? But aging doesn't mean giving up or going numb. It means learning to pay attention in a new way. It means recognizing that your body speaks to you, sometimes in whispers, sometimes in symptoms. And the most courageous thing you can do is listen. If anything resonated, take a moment and ask yourself honestly, have I been ignoring what my body is trying to say? If so, that's okay. You're not too late, too far gone, or broken. You're waking up. When you make even the smallest change, when you do it, or why, you're not just fixing a habit, you're reclaiming your health, strength, and self-respect. And that's something no one can take away from you. If this message resonated, please like the video so more men can find this truth. Share it with a friend, brother, or anyone who might need to hear this. I'd love to hear from you. Comment below and let me know what touched you most. If you believe in content supporting men's health with honesty and respect, consider a small donation to help us reach more lives. Your support means the world. This is how we change the conversation together.